give you another example. One last thing is this. Even on the Republican side, we have this huge deal about law and order. And my amendment, let's say, to this idea of law and order that's promoted so often is that it's wrong. It's not law and order that we want. It's peace and order. Because law and order, the law can be corrupted. And when the law is corrupted by lawmakers and the others who conspire to do it from the state and formal institutions, it undermines the rule of law. We want peace. And the way you achieve peace through Judeo-Christian values, peace is when man submits his passions to his reason and his reason to God. That can create peace within the individual and thus start to set the stage to have peace with others, which then allows for order. We want peace and order, and peace and order only comes through Judeo-Christian values. It doesn't come by way of fiat from a corrupt state, mind you.
That Don Staley, the head basketball coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, will be an NBA head coach within the next 18 months.
Oof.
I think that they won a national championship last night. South Carolina's second. I think since 2017, they probably would have won last year's, I think, or was it last year? The Final Four, 2 years ago, the Final Four was canceled and they were the number one ranked team. They would have 3 national championships. Don Staley is not long for the game of women's college basketball. The NBA is she gets about $3 million a year right now from South Carolina. The NBA is going to pay her $6 to $7 million to come in and coach. There's a chance it could be as early as this offseason when Frank Vogel gets fired. That
equal outcome should never be the goal. It is actually a reprehensible goal to have, because what you're saying is that everybody is exactly the same and nobody has any gifts. And that's just not the way the world is. The world shouldn't be that way. If it was, God would have made us that way. Everybody has their own gift and thing to offer in different places. So that, to me, we've not explained that. We've not explained that, hey, instead of mandating the opportunity, mandating the equal outcome, let's figure out where the deficiencies are, if it happens to be in an individual or an entire group, and help improve the deficiencies so that they can have the outcome that they desire, if they're willing to work for it. Not mandating the outcome because people can't figure it out. That is a problem. And we haven't been able to explain that. We just go along with, well, that's equity. Equity is good. And you saw how the left did it. They went from equality to equity really quick. And the word sounds a lot alike. So nice little sleight of hand. But equity is nothing like equality. Equality, we talk about opportunity, but equity is all about outcome. And that is incredibly problematic.
So what we used to have is a Christianized society where even people who didn't go to church had a certain baseline behaviors and beliefs. They were somewhat familiar with the 10 Commandments. There were certain things that they just would not do, right? Even a gangster would not smack an old lady over the head and take her purse. And if he did, he knows that other people would both talk bad about him and he would have to face certain consequences. But now we're at a point where, teenagers are robbing 70-year-olds or carjacking 70-year-olds. And when that person dies, the local government gives them a slap on the wrist. So, our society is coming apart at the seams. And I think you hit on the only sort of long-term sustainable answer, which is, as it talks about in the Old Testament, if my people, this is God speaking, would turn from their wicked ways, right, and repent and call on me, then I'll heal their land.
Let me just put it to you this way. They say a rising tide lifts all vessels, but here it could create a tsunami of grievance. I don't think there's any doubt about it. This here could be the Devontae Adams effect, where if you overpay a very good wide receiver, guess what? Every other wide receiver at or around or even below that level, they understand now that their pay scale increases. So there's no doubt about it. You call them Stephen A. and the blowhards or the blowfish. I call it out of sync against the Blackstreet Girls, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Within due time, what took place with Maria Taylor trying to compare herself to Stephen A. is now going to happen en masse with those names that you mentioned. And then certain media outlets are going to say, well, wait a minute, they're going to the buzzwords, disparity, equity, equal opportunity. All those buzzwords are going to be used to leverage ESPN to raises. That's what's going to happen. It's already in the script.
That if they feel like you are not super careful to delineate that it's about Jesus, not about politics, and even when you do that, they still think it's about politics.
That's why I'm kind of, it's a no-go zone for me. I want to ask you this other thing about from a biblical.
Just wait. So it's not here's where I'm agreeing with TJ, and I want to say this wrong. We have to address, in the church community, we have to address cultural issues. And what TJ was saying about the kids right now, I think it's far worse than the average pastor, church leader realize what's happening with kids today. So we've got to address that stuff. We just got to be careful that we are not calling people to allegiance to a political party or a political person.
I wish that someone like Jon Stewart had the guts to consent to an interview with somebody like me. And I would dare this man to sit up and make the argument that the American dream is unattainable for black people, because I promise you, if he did, I would do what Will Smith did to Chris Rock. I'd slap the shit out of him and tell him to keep our names out of your mouth, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. 4 years, but I've just never seen what the kind of wickedness and hostility towards truth that we're living through right now. And it does scare me. It makes me
should.
Well, we're gonna blow this. We're gonna blow this.
I will tell you, Jason, I am hearing from a lot of people who I think the Lord is doing something to everybody. And will you listen and obey? You really have to. We're entering a time now where I really think you need to be so in tune with the Spirit, because it might just save your life on what the Spirit says. Stop. Don't go there. Stop. Don't say that. Stop. Whatever it is.
Like, I can feel like this is my land, this is my country. And I feel like they don't want us to feel comfortable. They don't want us to feel like we're at home. They want us to feel that this is not really where we belong. And Royce has said this before, and you all talk about this all the time. It'll be easier to usher in globalism if we don't value our nationalism. If we don't think this is our country, then we'll easily say, let's get rid of the Constitution. Let's get rid of everything that says that I have rights right here in this land, and go to what they want us to do and be one with China and be one with all these other countries that we can't trust. I'm not doing that. This is my home and this is my land. So as an American citizen, it bothers me that he wants to say black people don't have the right to the American dream or it's unobtainable. That's a lie from the pit of hell, and I am not buying it.
What was the point? What are you trying to accomplish with your common law marriage bill?
First, thank you, Jason, for the opportunity to be on and try and clear up just all the misinformation that is just flying around out there. The dogs have definitely been released on me here, but that's just part of being in public life. First, this bill changes nothing in current Tennessee law regarding marriage, and it does not allow minors to get married. And in the version that I passed through subcommittee, it would not have allowed minors to get married because it forms a contract, and before they reach the age of consent or majority, they could not enter into this contract. But to try and satisfy these indirect attacks on the bill, I amended it to explicitly say both parties have to have reached the age of majority, which in Tennessee is defined as 18 years or older.
I want to read you, this is kind of the definition with my little tweak on it again, and with no negative intent. I'm not trying to take anything out of control, but this is what my definition of grooming is based off of everything I've read up, how other people have described grooming. Grooming is the act of building a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a child so that you can shape their sexual, gender, political, and racial worldview. Grooming. Building a relationship with a child so that you can shape their sexual, gender, political, and racial worldview. This is what the parental rights bill in Florida is about. It's trying to stop this grooming process that's going on in our schools.